to another Football Feast extra time podcast. Myself and Tommy. Obviously, last week we done our overrated 11, which we got a lot of stick for.
Yeah, I mean it's always going to happen. Not everyone's going to agree. But I think some people take it to heart a bit too much.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
But we know who we're talking about. We know what fan base. Right, anyway. So, as we done overrated last week, we've got underrated current Premier League 11. This was actually quite difficult because there was a few players I could have put in there, but I thought they're actually rated quite highly, but play for smaller clubs. So I've gone for what I think my personal opinion on underrated.
Well, yeah, this is it. Like I've gone for some people in there that like a lot of people might actually find them rated, but yeah, from my own personal opinion and what I see, this is why this is my opinion. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm right. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. It's my opinion.
Yeah, right. We'll kick things off with our goalkeeper. I'll go first this week, and I have gone for Leno at Fulham.
Okay.
I think he's top keeper. And if you think about the troubles Arsenal are having at the moment with Raya, looks awful. Ramsdale not even getting a game, and his dad coming out and slagging off Arteta and stuff like that. They paid a lot of money for them goalkeepers. I know Sanchez is on loan, but obviously if they buy him at the end of that, that's a big fee. £3 million Fulham bought Leno for. There's a couple of add-ons, so it could go up to like 8. But even that, like when you think about the money that they spent on Ramsdale and Raya, is Leno any worse than them two goalkeepers?
Oh no, not at all.
He's probably not, and he went for £3 million. Dependable, solid, rarely makes a mistake. Great signing for Fulham. Probably Arsenal shouldn't have let him go, really, when you look at their goalkeeping situation at the moment. But yeah, that's why he's in there for me.
So, my one, I don't know what kind of thing this is going to get. He's not actually getting much game time, I don't believe, but I've always kind of rated him as a keeper. I've actually gone for Fabianski, West Ham.
Okay, yeah.
I actually think he's been so consistent, just as just a very reliable goalkeeper. He's a really good shot stopper. He done it at Swansea in the Prem as well, which is always a tough feat.
Yeah.
Doing it for done it for West Ham as well. And I don't really think you see Fabianski, and he's not one of these keepers that making dreadful mistake after mistake. And he's kept consistently, and he's kind of always been around the Premier League as well. Like he's not one of these people that have dropped down or he's gone abroad or. I've kind of always kind of rated him, and he's never really been put into the bracket of he's a top keeper. When you get people that like Nick Pope and Ramsdale that are, and
since leaving Arsenal, because he did have a name of Fabianski, didn't he, at Arsenal? But since leaving then, I agree, he's been probably one of the best keepers in the league.
Yeah,
but for many years.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to get any kind of mention or credit.
No,
like
true.
Yeah, Fabianski, decent keeper.
Nice, solid start. Right, so my right back, I actually had a Man United right back in my team. I had a Man United player in my underrated 11, which I thought was madness. But the weird thing is I replaced the Man United right back with another Man United right back. So at first I had Wan-Bissaka.
Okay.
Because I think old school right back, defend first, not so great going forward, but as a defender, he's up there with the very best right backs in the league for defending. I don't think anyone can deny that. For actual defending, he's up there with the best. So, but he's not so great going forward. So I've actually replaced him with Dalot. Because I think Dalot is brilliant. And I don't really think he gets the credit he deserves at Man United. I think he's up there with the best right backs in the league. I know that's a pretty big thing to say because you've got Carl Walker, Reece James, Trippier.
I
I
was going
think
to
he's
say,
that good.
I heard you say a T then beginning with, and I was like, don't say it. Don't say it.
Trent's up there as well for going forward and that. But yeah, I think he's that good. I think he's up there with him. And yeah, so that's why he's in mine, because when people go through their right backs, he probably wouldn't be in most people's top 5. And yeah, that's why he's in mine. I think he's good.
It'd be interesting to see how Man United fans themselves actually rate Dalot.
Yeah, yeah,
How
because you
high
don't see
they rate
many.
him. Like, would they personally stick him in the top 5, or would they see him as part of the current problem at Man United?
Yeah, because you don't see many Man United fans talking about him. Like, it's obviously always Rashford, Bruno,
It's the
whatever.
attacking,
You don't.
yeah,
Yeah,
or the slating of Maguire.
yeah,
It'd be one of them things. So, yeah, no, it'd
but
be
yeah,
interesting. Yeah, good shout.
he made mine.
My right back is Wan-Bissaka.
Oh shit. Oh well.
I just think he started off, so like you said, is old school, not so good getting forward. But then when has it become a thing that to be a right back you must get forward?
It's just the game, ain't it? Today,
Yeah, I
today's
mean the
game.
game's changed, but at the same time, when you're a right back, your main job is to defend.
Yeah, first and
And that's
foremost, your
why
defence.
Trent's not a good right back. But it's also why Wan-Bissaka is a good right back. He can defend, and he's good at defending. I think the problem is he's at Man United. I think Wan-Bissaka, given the chance, a decent transfer, and yeah, I think he'll be up there again as one
Yeah,
of the
because he
best in the league.
doesn't get a lot of game time, does he? At United, I know he
No.
plays every now and again, or he has like stages where he's in the team, and then loads of stages where he's out for a while. But when he was at Palace, I think it's Palace.
It was
Pretty
Palace.
sure it's Palace.
Yeah,
He was so good.
so good.
And then he went to United, and obviously their left and right backs do attack, don't they? They do get forward, and
Yeah.
he's needs to add that to his game. But yeah, like what you said, for a defender, top class.
I just think the setup at United. I think it's gone on for so long now because he's been there a few years now, hasn't he? And I think
Yeah,
he's kind of. I think it's just in a rut. I think he needs a transfer. I think if he wants to reignite his career and be the defender that like the good defender that he is, I think he needs that transfer.
yeah,
But at the minute, I think he's just gonna fall into the shadows at United.
fair enough, fair enough. So my left back, I've actually gone with a current Crystal Palace left back, and I've gone with Tariq Mitchell.
I did consider, I just couldn't do it.
I think he's top class. I think he'll get a move soon, as a few of them Palace players will, like Elise and Eze, Guayi, Mitchell. I think they're really, really good players, and that's why he's in mine as my left back. I think soon he'll get the move, and then people will start appreciating how good he is. Because it is a bit of a shame where like you don't really get credit if you play for a Palace or
No,
or a Fulham or things like that. Because he could probably, like, you're telling me he can't get in that. Luke Shaw, obviously, is injured at Man United, but he could get in that team. I think.
yeah. To be honest, yeah, I think Luke Shaw's like you said, he's kind of pushing the end now. In it, I think he's going to be very limited to what he can do soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he would get in.
Like you look at Arsenal, they've just got obviously Tierney's gone. They've got Zinchenko, haven't they? There,
Yeah.
he could get in that team. I think.
Well, Zinchenko was in my overrated
Yeah,
last
I
week.
think
So
Mitchell's good enough to play for them clubs. And I think when he does get a move, people might start like thinking, "Oh no, he actually is. He is a really, really good player."
that's what it needs.
So that's what. Yeah, he's in mine. He's my left back.
So my left back, I've actually gone for a curveball because defensively, this overrated was difficult. This was my
Yeah, it was.
toughest area to fill. So people may agree or disagree, maybe think I'm cheating on this one a little bit. I've actually gone for a Man City player.
Oh, where have you
Um,
gone for?
so it's not his usual position. When Cancelo left, he kind of picked up the position, and I've gone for Nathan Ake. So that, again, that's not me saying he's underrated as a defender, not at all. Like as a centre back, he's absolutely quality. But he kind of picked up that left back position. You didn't know how he was going to fit in because obviously you've had can't pronounce his name, Gvardiol, come in and kind of take up that centre back position away from him a little bit, so he's not really getting as much. But I think when he moved into that left back position, I think he actually handled it really, really well. And I think he could actually do a job there. And I think they could probably keep him there and he'll do a job there all season. So I think that's not been given as much credit as it probably should have had.
I think if you probably ask Man City fans when he first got into when Cancelo left, and they looked at that next team sheet and saw Ake as a left back, they probably worried.
Yeah, because I don't think people really people probably think defensively and probably think anyone can go back there, just defend the ball. But it's such a different position to go from. I think fullbacks it's much more fast paced, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think he's just slotted in there and he's just done a job. And I think it's just gone unrecognised of how good a job he done. And I think that's why I've put him in my underrated left back.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with that. I'll go with my two centre backs.
Yep.
So just before I go say my two, because I did have Tim Ream written down, because the guy's 36 years of age and he still plays in the best league in the world.
He does feel like he's been around forever, that guy.
Yeah, and there was a time where his career was done at Fulham, but he kept plugging away, kept fighting, and now he's their main centre back again.
Yeah.
So he deserves a lot of credit, and because especially when people go, "Oh, Thiago Silva, how is he still playing at this age?" I mean, Tim Ream's only a couple of years younger, 36 years of age, and he's still playing in the best league in the world at a team where the defenders have to work. He ain't playing for like a Man City where they do a bit every now and again. Most of the games, he's under constant pressure.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to give a shout out to him. But I've gone for another Palace player, unfortunately, for you. I've gone with Anderson. I think another one who that Crystal Palace team is probably looking. They're probably so worried, in the next couple of seasons, that these players are going to end up going elsewhere. Because I think he could play for most of the big clubs. I think he's that good. And that goal he scored the other day, I know defenders don't score goals and he doesn't score many, but what a strike he scored a couple of weeks back. So I've gone for him, and I've gone for Ethan Pinnock at Brentford.
Okay.
Because another one as well, every single week, he's like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Every single week, without fail. He's reliable. If I was Brentford, he'd be in that side every single week. So so reliable. Always a 7 or 8 out of 10.
I can't disagree, to be honest. Can't. 2 good shouts, I think. 3 good shouts if you include Tim Ream. My 2, very different. First one, I feel like I had to go for this guy. He's an ex-addict. And I've actually gone for Tom Lockyer.
Okay.
Obviously plays for Luton. There's obviously going away from the Prem a little bit. Moving to Luton, captaining them to the Premier League. It's not an easy feat, is it? It's Luton Town. But not only doing that, then obviously I know he went to hospital in the final, but he's come back. He's come straight back into the team in the Premier League, and they've got points which no one expected them to get. I was expecting them to be on 0. No offense, Luton, but I was expecting them to be on 0 at the end of the season. And he is at the forefront of all that. And to be fair, playing at Charlton, we were in the Championship when we had him. I liked him as a player then. You can see there was something in him. I don't think his level is much higher than Luton, to be honest. But I think the job he's doing, he's a solid player, Tom Lockyer.
Yeah, can't disagree. Gives his all. Proper old school centre back.
Exactly. That's what you want. This one, I'm throwing this one out there. Again, this could cause a bit of controversy. I've gone for another City player.
You know, you've got 2 City players in your defence as underrated.
I'm going to tell you why. I've gone for John Stones.
Was underrated?
To an extent, yeah. People think John Stones is a good centre back. I think that guy's world class as a centre back. I honestly do. And I think if he weren't playing at City, I know a lot of people just say, City, they got all the money to buy these players, blah, 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 blah. But I guarantee if that guy was at Real Madrid or he was at PSG, he'll be classed as one of the top 5 best centre backs in the world. 100%. 100%.
I don't disagree though, so I don't know if he's underrated. I think most people would think he was
like John
world
Stones
class.
like I do, but I think there's a lot of people like I keep seeing stuff, on social media about the best centre backs in the Premier League and stuff like that. You see, I saw one earlier: Van Dijk versus Saliba versus Diaz. Where's John Stones?
Yeah,
Why is he
okay,
not in contention? Why is he not in contention for that? Why is no one ever saying Van Dijk or Stones? It's Diaz or Saliba or Van Dijk or Vardy when he came in. Why is John Stones not being talked about as much?
Okay,
That's why I put him in the underrated. I'm not saying that people don't think he's a good player. I'm saying they do think he's good. I think he's world class.
So that is a question that is for TikTok then. Viewers or listeners, is John Stones top 5 centre back in the Premier League at this current time?
I'm saying in the world. I know.
You think he's top 5 in the world?
Yeah, I think he's that good, and that's not English bias. And I'm happy he plays for England, but I think he will get into any team.
Okay. Well, we'll leave that to the viewers to decide that one then. Fair enough. Right. So, do you just want to go for your 3 midfielders, and then we'll just do our midfield each? So obviously we've got 4-3-3 formation.
Yeah, just go straight for the 3 if you want. You could do your 3, I'll do mine.
Cool. Right. So my first one is another Brentford player. So that's my second Brentford player in the team. I've gone for Matthias Jensen.
Okay.
I think he's a brilliant player. Everything good Brentford do
comes from
always is through him, and he's another one. That's why Brentford are so they're solid mid-table now, aren't they? Maybe even a bit above. Because I know they're obviously 11th at the moment, but technically it's mid-table. So, but they're always there because they've got players like Pinnock, who's a 7 out of 10 every week. They've got players like Matthias Jensen, who's a 7 or 8 out of 10 every week. And I checked his stats the other day. So bear with me just 2 secs. But I think already this season he's what's he got? Brentford. Yeah, already this season, 5 goal contributions, 3 goals, 2 assists, and for Brentford it's not too bad. Obviously, if you're playing for City or an Arsenal or something, it'd be better. But playing for Brentford, you've got 5 goal contributions from your centre midfield already.
Yeah,
it's not a bad start, is it? And he's just so reliable, 7 or 8 out of 10 every week.
The thing is,
that's why they're so solid, I think.
Brentford, I think either after they lost Tony from suspension, everyone thought they were gonna drop a lot more, didn't they? And like you said, it's the players like him that are kind of just keeping them afloat, keeping them fighting.
Yeah, there's a few I could have picked. Norgard, I think he's great. So, but I've gone for Matthias Jensen because he's another one. I think he'll get a big move soon. So my second one is a Bournemouth midfielder, and I've gone for Philip Billing.
Okay.
It's another one. Always seems to pop up with goals when they need them. Always reliable. Always puts in a good shift, good performance. And he might be another one who might get a move, I think, in the next season or two. Not to a massive club. I'm not saying he's going to play for City or Arsenal or United or anything. Definitely think he can do a job for some of the teams that are up there. Like, he could go to Brighton pretty easily and fit in. He could go to West Ham.
I mean, Brighton have got Milner and Adam Lallana, so I think Billing can probably go in there and
yeah. Even someone like a Spurs, I think he'd get game time. I think he'd do a good job for them. So that's why he's in mine, because not really a lot of people talk about him, and
No.
Bournemouth are always down the bottom, and he's one of their stars, ain't he? So I think he's probably going to keep him up this year. And my other midfielder is my only Brighton player, and this is because I think obviously a lot of people rate. I was going to put Matoma in there, but I thought
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
thought
people
about
actually
it.
rate him.
Yeah,
A lot of people rate him, and he is going to get that move soon.
he will do.
And a lot of people think he'll deserve it. I've gone for someone who goes very under the radar, Brighton. All these players have got big moves, haven't they? Basuma's gone and Casado's gone. And they talk about Matoma, they talk about Ferguson. Obviously, Trossard's gone. And so on, so on. Pascal Gross. Another one.
Yeah.
He's a solid 7 at least out of 10 every single week. And he could go and play for one of the big clubs and not look out of place.
No, I don't disagree, to be fair.
I was going to go Solly March because I really rate him as well, but I don't think he got the level that Pascal Gross is at. I think he's a top player.
No, I agree.
And that's my three centre mids. Go on then, tell us yours. Who have you got? Another Man City? Kevin De Bruyne by any chance?
Got Kevin De Bruyne in there. No, so the first one, I'm going to keep it simple first. I went for Billing as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Exactly like you said, he's just... I know at one point in time I thought he was a centre-back. But
I remember
yeah,
that mistake.
he's... I mean, him, Tyrone Mings and Reece James are like triplets, honestly. But yeah, he's always there. Like you said, like whenever you're watching him play, he's always up there in one way or another, whether it's banging in a goal or just putting in a great performance. I think he just kind of keeps himself under the radar at the same time. Like you said,
Yeah.
he's not spoken about enough, yet he does probably just as much, if not more, than most of the people that are talked about in a similar position. So that's why he's there for me. The other one, I've probably gone for a little bit of bias again. Although they're not having a great season, I've gone for Josh Cullen at Burnley.
Okay.
His time at Charlton, very talented player. Obviously, he was on loan from West Ham. He couldn't really cut it. I don't know what it is. I say he couldn't cut it in the West Ham team. He could. I think he could. I think he still could. But
I know there was a few that were quite upset, weren't they, when he left?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So they thought he was going to get
kept
him.
loaning him to Charlton as well, and obviously I know there was a few West Ham fans that weren't happy about that. But obviously he went to Anderlecht in the end, where Vincent Kompany was, and then obviously Kompany's got a job at Burnley, and he's brought Cullen in as well. So he obviously sees something in Cullen, and obviously got them promoted to the Premier League, and he's still in that team. He's still in that first team every week. But he is such a solid centre midfielder. Do you know when you think of your Lee Catamoles and your Scott Parkers? He is that type of centre midfielder, and I love that type of centre midfielder. But I don't ever hear anyone say anything about him. I know obviously Burnley aren't having a great season; they probably will go straight back down. Sorry, Burnley fans. But yeah, he is a solid centre midfielder, and I think he would do a job.
Do you think someone will pick him up if Burnley go down there?
I don't know. I'd like to think they would, but again, I don't even know if he goes under the radar for other football teams as well.
No, he'd easily do a job at like a Wolves and that, wouldn't he?
Even like
Wolves.
a Palace. Like I said, I liked Conor Gallagher. He done a good job at Palace, and I think Josh Cullen could do a very similar job. Yeah. He doesn't come up with a lot of goals, but yeah, he's solid.
Fair enough.
So he's in there for me. I've gone for like a centre attacking mid. I know this guy is rated, but I don't think he's rated enough. And that's Gibbs-White for Forest. To be honest, they bought like 50 players, didn't they? I think it's going to be a typical thing you do on Football Manager. You buy too many players, there's no chemistry, you go down. I thought that was going to be it for Forest. But Gibbs-White, he's kind of he's helped them avoid relegation, and I think he played a massive.
100%.
I think he played a massive part in that. I think he's been their top player since, and I just don't think he's getting. I think he will get a move from Forest very soon as well. But like I said, I think people do rate him. I don't think people think he's a terrible player, but I think I think he needs a bit more credit for what he's doing at Forest. To be honest.
Well, I'll go with my left midfielder then, because he can play either wing, centre mid, centre attacking midfield. I've got Morgan Gibbs-White.
Okay.
I just wanted to get him in my team.
Yeah.
Can't tell you if he's actually played left mid for Forest. I know he can play on the wings and the midfield. I had to fit him in because it's exactly the same as you. He kept Forest up last season. Yesterday, he kept Forest up last season without a doubt. 8 assists, 5 goals. It's over double figures from your midfielder in goal contributions for a struggling side. And them assists and them goals kept them up. And it's not just that either. Like when you watch Forest, everything they do well comes through him.
Yeah.
So it won't just be the goals and assists. It'll be the corners he wins. It'll be the free kicks he wins, penalties he wins, or the through ball that sets someone off to make the cross for the goal scorer.
He's a workhorse.
It's not just his goals and assists. Everything else he does, everything Forest do well, comes through that man.
Yeah,
and I think he's top player. And
He'll
again, he could go to Spurs tomorrow and fit in. He could play for United now. He's better than what they've got. He's as good as Mason Mount is.
I think that's what they need. They need someone that's going to get stuck in. They need someone that's going to be wanting to win every single ball. And I think that's the kind of player they need, to be honest. I wouldn't like to see him go there because, don't like him. But I think that kind of move would suit him, I think.
Yeah. Who was your left mid then?
Left mid was someone that you mentioned earlier, but you didn't stick in. I actually went for Solly March.
Okay, nice.
Brian, it's very similar to the Billing thing. He's always there.
Yeah.
He's always doing something. He's always getting involved in somewhere or another. And it's not just like it's since Brighton have kind of been relevant in the Premier League. I know at the start of the season, you obviously said that you didn't think Brighton were going to have the season that they had last. And, he's been one of the consistents in that Brighton team that has kept them going. And I do actually really rate him as a player. And again, just like obviously everyone else in the list, I just don't think he's talked about enough as being, a very consistently good player.
Yeah, I wanted to put him in, but I went Pascal Gross instead. Yeah. But last season, when Brighton had that unbelievable season, he played nearly every game. 7 goals, 7 assists. That's hard to do in the Premier League. To get 7 goals and 7 assists.
For a team like, again, no offence to Brighton, but for a team like Brighton, a lot of the opposition you're coming up against, it is difficult.
Yeah, that's tough to do, and there's credit to him really because he's been with them through most of it, isn't he?
Yeah, he has.
Or did he join when they got to the Premier League? I can't remember, but he's been there a long old time.
Yeah, he has been there a while.
Yeah, he's been there a long old time. He's a top player. So, right wing. I've gone for someone that is rated, but I don't think rated quite highly enough. And that's Jarrod Bowen.
Okay.
Because
I did think about Bowen, to be fair. I've not got him, but yeah.
He's another one, I think he's probably unlucky that obviously there's Saka, Foden that can play on the right. Rashford can play there, can't he, as well, for England. He's very unlucky that we've got some good wingers in the England squad. 8 goals he scored this season in 12 games.
Yeah.
And 1 assist. 9 goal contributions in 12 games for West Ham this season. He's already scored more goals this season than he did last. I think he's a brilliant player, and he's another one that could get a big move. West Ham are doing really well this season, aren't they? They're actually They're actually pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think they were going to do as good. And obviously, Declan Rice left, and it's one player doesn't make a team. But no, they've stuck with it, and they're actually doing really well.
Yeah, they look like they was maybe got relegated last season, didn't they? But they're right up there, basically on the same points as like the Brightons, only 3 away from Newcastle. If you were told West Ham fan they'd be 3 points away from Newcastle after 12 games, they'll be well happy with that. And it's the same. Most things that go through West Ham that are good come through Bowen. Goals, assists, and he works his arse off as well.
He does work
He's a
hard. Yeah,
worker.
that's one thing I was going to say. I think you even see when he's been called up for England as well. He does work hard.
Yeah, he's a good player. Who was yours then? Right wing.
So I've gone for a Brentford player. And I actually went for Mbuemo.
Yeah.
Again, do you know, you talk about like the fantasy football league. He always seems to be a player that pops up with points. he's always there getting something or another. And again, Brentford, it's baffled me how they're still in the Premier League. I'm not saying they're a terrible team, but when you look at the players that they came up with and that they've also lost at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was looking at Mbuemo, I was looking at his stats as well. In 170 appearances in the Premier League, he's scored 42 goals. Now, like, you'd probably give that to like a Harry Kane or something. Everyone would be like, well, it's not that great. But when you're playing for a team like Brentford, that is pretty good. That's pretty good to kind of keep that kind of level of consistency for a team like that in the Premier League. And I think he's a pretty decent player.
And I think especially this season when obviously with Tony was suspended for 6 months, I think a lot of people did fear for Brentford. I did. I said at the beginning of one of our podcasts when we was doing our predictions, I thought Brentford would be in trouble.
Yeah, they're lacking that firepower, and they have.
He stepped up. He's a goal every other game, which if you can get a midfielder, isn't he? He's not even a striker. If you get a midfielder that can score a goal,
well, yeah, this is it.
Every other game,
yeah. As a midfielder, to have 170 appearances and 42 goals
for Brentford as well.
Like I said, we're not for Brentford. Yeah, I think it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, can't disagree. Right, my striker, I'm going to absolutely butcher his name real bad because I've gone for another Forest player. And I was talking about someone this earlier. I didn't realise that he was at Liverpool. They let him go. And then he went elsewhere, like foreign leagues, came back to Forest. Taiwo Awoniyi. I'm going to try and pronounce it. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
We said Morgan Gibbs-White kept him up last year. But he was another massive part. 10 goals. If you can get a player that's in a struggling team that can get you 10 goals, you're going to do all right. That's probably going to keep you up. Like between the Gibbs-White and... I'm not going to pronounce his name again because I'll just butcher it. I think he's in for a big move soon. 100%. He's in for a big move. 4 already this season in 10 games. Last season, 10 goals in 27. Big, strong, quick, can finish, can head, works hard. He's in for a big move soon, I think.
Yeah.
I really, really rate him. Really do.
You're going to hate me for this next one.
Oh, shit. Who's he gone for?
I've gone for Callum Wilson as an underrated player. No, I mean, like, you look at Newcastle and obviously you look at their attacking side that they've got. I'm not saying like Callum Wilson doesn't get any credit, but I don't think he gets near enough for the contribution that he puts in to Newcastle. And obviously, the goals that he scored, he's helped Newcastle get to the Champions League.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It sounds insane. Like, Newcastle are a Champions League team. They're playing Paris Saint-Germain. They're playing Borussia Dortmund. And Callum Wilson has played a big part of that. Where's he come from? Bournemouth. And he
Yeah.
was doing it at Bournemouth as well.
Yeah.
When they'd come up, no one thought Bournemouth were going to survive the Premier League, let's be honest. Obviously, after a few years, they didn't. But yeah, he done it at Bournemouth, and I think that is a feat in itself. And then to go to Newcastle and get them into the Champions League. I know, obviously, it wasn't just him. There was other players around him, but he's played a massive part of that.
We scored 18 goals last season. I didn't realise that.
He's played a massive part of that. And I think but Newcastle are up there now, so it's not like, is he going to get a big move to a big team? Because at the minute, would he want to? He's in the Champions League.
Yeah.
But I think, I think he could go into a Chelsea team and do a job. He could go into United and he'll smash goals in. I think he's just drawn to the goal, isn't he? It kind of reminds me of like a Darren Bent kind of striker. He's drawn to the net, isn't he?
His positioning is brilliant. Yeah. I don't want to praise him too much, obviously, because he's a Newcastle player. But his positioning is great. Like, he's always in the right position.
He knows the game well. He does.
And I
think
he's a good player, especially because he rotates with Isaac as well, and he's still getting them numbers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They've got a lot of attacking players, and he still keeps popping up with the goods over everyone else. And I think, that's not me saying people don't rate him already. They probably do. I'd be surprised if they didn't. But I don't think, he's rated probably as highly as he should be rated higher, I think.
Yeah. Can't disagree, unfortunately, even though I want to. He's a good player.
Just see him as an ex-Bournemouth player, current Newcastle.
Yeah. Right, so that's our underrated 11s. We'll put a few of them on TikTok, see what everyone thinks. Let us know if we're wrong. I'm sure you will. You enjoyed doing that.
Even something as positive as a player that's underrated. I think saying someone is underrated is more of a positive thing than a negative thing. But I think I'm sure people will find out. They'll probably ask why there's no Liverpool players in there.
We'll see. But properly. Right, so that's us done. We won't be back next Thursday because young Thomas here is off to Paris.
Trying to scout Mbappe for Charlton. So,
excuse me, Killian. Do you fancy the Valley on Wednesday night? We've got Morecambe.
Just beat Clay Valley Paper Mills in a FA Cup first round replay. There you go, mine. But we have the support. We've given their biggest attendance to date. So
I probably wouldn't tell, if you're going to try and scout Kylian Mbappe, I probably wouldn't tell him you've just beat Cray's Paper Mill on an FA Cup replay.
Cray Valley average attendance of 150 people.
Fair play, though, fair play. So we won't be back next Thursday, but we will be back the Thursday after with some kind of weird, strange combined 11 or
option
of some kind.
Yeah, but as well, like, let us know if there's any underrated players that you think we've missed. Very, very, very truly underrated in the Premier League. I know some of ours aren't very truly underrated, but it's difficult. It's actually very difficult. But if we've missed any, let us know of any underrated players.
Yep, definitely. Right, and we'll see you not next Thursday, but the Thursday after.
Thursday. Happy days.
Peace out.